Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jan's weekly Facebook Live session. I'm thrilled to be here again on a Thursday evening, just waiting for people to join in. People are starting to clock in now, which is great. We'll give it a few minutes for people to join in. I hope you've had a good week. It's been another really challenging time with some horrifically tragic news coming out of London, Ontario, which I think has us all looking in the mirror again as to what it means for us to have an inclusive society, what truly for me is about being Canadian, who I believe we are one of the most pluralistic societies in the world, and that this kind of hate-driven, horrendous crime, the death of four members of a family, leaving a young boy on his own, just tragic. So again, my heartfelt condolences to that little boy, that 9-year-old boy, his family, extended family, and of course, our Muslim friends and colleagues and families who are here. So just again, want to acknowledge that. It's been such a tough week again. While we wait for people to clock on, some positive news, roller coaster, right? But here in Calgary, moving to second phase, right, of reducing COVID restrictions. I'm excited. I hope you're excited about getting outdoors, visiting with friends. I'm really looking forward to dinner on a patio. So anyway, and exciting news, and I want to hear from you in the chat function. How many have their appointment now for their second COVID shot? I do. I got it booked today. I'm extremely excited. I am doing the AstraZeneca. I've actually decided to double up on that, but incredibly excited. So, so thrilled. And I marvel just at modern medicine and the fact that we can actually be in this position. I don't think even looking about 15 months ago that was even possible. So it looks like we're creeping up on numbers, and it's great to see the names. Atta go, Sherry, second shot done. Woohoo. Katrina, you're booked. That's awesome. So anyway, who else is booked? So this is so exciting. I get really emotional about this. I'm not sure about you. But as we begin, because we've got another exciting session for you planned today, and got great feedback from last week's session about having a guest to join me. And I'm going to introduce a dear friend in a moment to you that's going to join me. But for now, I think, and as is a tradition and something that is just I hold also very deeply, want to acknowledge and take the opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Blackfoot and the people of Treaty 7 of Southern Alberta, which includes the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, First Nations that is, which includes Chiniki, Bearspaw, Wesley, and the city of Calgary, which is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, Region Number 3. Acknowledging territory is important, but we have so much work to do, as we even talked about last week, given just again the finding of those 215 sweet souls outside a residential school, as we all kind of atone for our history. And I think it's really important that we all commit to this ongoing work and forge real understanding and challenge the legacies of the past, face our truth, and pursue together reconciliation. As mayor, as a future mayor of this city, my dream, my hope, when I'm working so hard to earn your vote and earn your support, I am so committed to this work. So wanted to open up the session with that. So great to see the numbers creeping up. So welcome tonight. For those of you who don't know me, Jan Damery, and I'm running to be mayor of this great city that I just hold in the highest esteem. I'm putting my hat in the ring because I so believe in the future of this city to be a magnet for people to live and build their dreams, to raise their families, to just create quality of life. And I believe we have all the assets we need. What we need is strong leadership in the mayor's chair that can collaborate, that can inspire. And I believe I'm that mayor. So hoping you again will join me on this journey And I look forward to earning your support and your vote, because I'm emphatically stand for prosperity for all, diversity and talent, smart financial choices, and healthy and connected communities. You can see more details of the platform and announcements that we've been making and we're going to continue to make that will drive the city forward to be better. This is about moving forward. And that's another reason that I've thrown my hat into the arena. So let's bring Charles Buchanan, a dear friend of mine. And while I have him, but Charles Buchanan is CEO of Technology Helps. He comes out of the corporate world, but he's always had a heart for not-for-profit work. And so he founded this organization, Technology Helps, for the not-for-profit sector, because he wanted to address the poverty in technology, often that is in the profit, not-for-profit sector. And I lived this firsthand at YWCA Calgary, and knew that this is not a nice to have. We need high quality technology so that we can serve as many people as we can. And we're just waiting for Charles to join. We'll see if we'll try this again. There it is. Oh, seem to have an issue there. I'm hoping my tech guys are actually on the background. It says there's another broadcast. I don't know. Anyway, come on in, Charles. Maybe we'll try it again. Charles, can you hit that green button again? Well, third time lucky. Let's hope for this. So Charles also is a father of two beautiful daughters. He and I met, I think, 5 years ago, and our paths just continue to cross. I'm such an admirer of his, so I can't wait to see his face on this screen with me. He sits on many boards. He serves on the Calgary Foundation in one of their granting committees. He also serves on United Way, one of their communities. He truly is a community builder. He's a founding member and a board member of the Calgary Black Chamber. And he has recently joined VMSA, which is the Venture Mentor Service of Alberta. And I've been part of VMSA, mentoring startup CEOs in this ecosystem in Calgary, which also is why I am so energized and excited about what I'm actually going to see if I can actually add Charles on my own. So we'll see if that works. And so excited. So he's here. I see him there. Oh, yay. See, it's just persistence and tenacity.
It works. Can you hear me, guys?
I can. It's good
Okay,
to see
wonderful.
you, Charles. I was just regaling all of the wonderful aspects about you that I so admire about you, and I'm thrilled you can join me today.
No, yeah, I'm excited to be here. And of course, without fail, the technology guy shows up and the technology fails. So yeah, but I'm not going to fix it because I'm not working right now. So yeah, so thanks for the kind words, Jen, and I'm excited that you're taking this task on to lead the city. Like, we need someone like you. So yeah, we've got a couple of questions. Like, so this week you came out with a new announcement around businesses, and like, I saw the announcement and I was like, well, so, like, is this really a thing? Like, I mean, why is it so bad? Like, what's the current situation and what's so wrong with it? Why did you think this was something important for you to actually have a strong position on?
Yeah. Well, and you're a business owner yourself, Charles, right? And I think particularly in COVID, we have found how important local business is to our city. And we have a lot of outdated bureaucratic regulations, and we use a very blunt instrument of land use to regulate business, which means that businesses have a tough time being agile. We've built layers upon layers of these regulations over time. You and I have both worked in very large systems, right? And you know what happens in that case is a lot of those things start to compete, and who gets caught in the middle are our entrepreneurs and our agile business people trying to make a go and trying to make a living. I think this becomes really important too when we think about recovery of our economy and building a very robust local economy. Think of newcomers to our city who often actually are starting up new businesses. And how do we actually get rid of that, some of that red tape and this bureaucratic challenges? If there needs to be a change in land use, Charles, you have to go to city council. And that can be months before you get a yes or no, or whether you can actually proceed. And if your business, say you want to open up a restaurant, if it's over 810 square feet, you actually have to get often a change actually in sort of the land use, which actually means you have to go to council. And so very prescriptive. And so we are looking and proposing to have a real, just a really ambitious regulatory view, and going almost back to first principles. You know, I'm an economist and I'm always back to first principles. What are we actually trying to regulate? And what I know for sure is we're not trying to regulate businesses from not opening. What we are trying to regulate are things that smell bad when you think kind of living and working in community, right? Making sure uses that are compatible. You know, if you've got children or playgrounds, those sorts of things. So we want to regulate the things we don't like, but not the things we do like. And that's been the inspiration, and really trying to make it easier. We sort of pride ourselves as this entrepreneurial city, but we throw a lot of hoops in the way for businesses, and want to really eradicate that, to make sure that also our entrepreneurs be incredibly creative and how they use space. We've got a lot of empty space we need to fill. And so this is one of the key aspects of how we actually hope to do that.
Okay, so how did we get here, and why has it persisted for so long?
I think, again, my insight, having worked in large organizations much of my career and all the different sectors I have, Charles. So my theory is, you start to layer on top of layer on, but you never go back and undercut it and really ask the question, what are we trying to do here? I think too, we've become incredibly risk averse, which gets in the way of agility. And what we've seen with just the shocks to the economy of this city and this province, we have to be agile and we have to get these things out of the way so businesses actually can invent, reinvent, and have an easier time of doing that. So I think it's actually a compounded thing that has happened. And, and you've got to have energy and appetite to do this. Much of this legislation is in the provincial realm. So it also means that we have to negotiate with the province. Now, I think they're going to be listening if we actually can drive additional economic activity. And it's also about having a really positive relationship with the province, that we can actually negotiate those changes.
Okay, so you're suggesting that Calgary would be pretty much open for, yeah, I mean, I know the expression open for business was used a few years ago from a provincial standpoint, but that doesn't appear to have trickled down to the city of Calgary. Like, I mean, so how
and
so
I hear, yeah.
Go ahead.
I interrupted you. I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, so somebody trying to start a business here, like a newcomer, it's how does one navigate the maze that's here today? Like, what mechanisms are in place to help people with that kind of thing?
So you deal with sort of city administration, and in stories that I've heard from people, right? It often will depend on who you get. Because it's so complex. Also, it depends on the expertise of the actual agent, their own experience, and so you get lots of kind of mixed signals. But you need advocates, but we also ultimately just have to make that system simpler. And how do we enable? And I think right now, how do we also help our city administration? Because I think so many of these decisions actually need to be their decisions. I'm very curious, and I'm curious what everyone else thinks, and your own experience when you have to go forward for land use changes before the city council. Is that really the right form? Because I worry too about the waste that goes on in city council, and are they actually focused on the right things? Because what's your observation? You're a business owner, Charles.
So it's like I would. So as a business owner, I'm fortunate that I run more like a service business than a digital business. So it's but historically, I've been a part of businesses that have had to deal with city council and deal with land use changes, and it's not worth it sometimes. Like, it's like you wonder, are these people is it their job just to be inhibitors to business moving forward? And you wonder, like, I mean, why do we pay taxes for people to get in our way? Because that's how it feels as a business owner, that there is just blockades everywhere. So so now we could jump on. So what is it that you're proposing? Like, I mean, specifically, how are you going to address this?
So what we've talked about and putting together again, right? Just this robust platform. We're going to be unveiling various aspects, but specifically this week, it really is about just a regulatory reform project, getting experts around the table, listening to, right, from our city administration, because in many respects, I think their hands are tied. So what has to change? And then how do we actually negotiate that? So it's really about streamlining, right? The licensing system. There's also been, and the city has recognized these issues. There's a center city enterprise area. So it's almost think of a pilot area, smaller part. And they've really looked at streamlining the process for development permits for much businesses and exterior alterations, right? For just sort of that small area in the city. And it's a small fix for the bigger problem. But what I've been hearing from people, I think last year, 65 businesses went through this process. It reduced the delays that businesses were experiencing in getting their permits by almost 15 days on average each. And what I know, having also been a small business owner, my own consulting firm, right? Time is money, right? And also having the clarity and knowing that regime. So what I want to do is actually take those learnings from that pilot project, the Center City Enterprise Area, and just do it cross-board the city so we can actually scale it to get those efficiencies.
Okay, so yeah, so that would be, I would say that would be very helpful to businesses going forward. Is there more that you would like, more to this than you've shared?
Well,
there?
and again, looking at also just the municipal legislation, which again is provincial legislation, I think many of us in the city don't even realize that, is looking at how we can delegate some of what is now in council and delegate it actually to the professionals and the experts that know how to do this. This is about, Tamara and I talked last week about governance at city council, when we really do have to start acting like a board of directors and very much view the role of mayor actually as the board chair, right? To really make sure that we're focused on the right things. And I'm not sure always looking at land uses, very specific applications and efficient use of council time.
Oh,
so that's what we have to look at.
So when this is resolved, or when this is optimized or improved, what are the implications for the city overall?
So it's about a vibrant and robust Main Street, full of local businesses, restaurants, other small businesses. I made this announcement earlier this week, actually in Sunnyside, in front of this beautiful brick, almost historic building that is sitting empty right now. And we actually had a neighbor in the hood walk by. She says, "Oh my God, I can't wait for something to go in there." And so so the goal is that we would actually have someone be able to actually have their own business in that business and not wait for delays, not have the for lease sign and question marks about who's going in there, what's going in there. And it's been empty for a long time. And this is about creating vibrant neighborhoods where we just have, right? Just vibrant commercial in our neighborhoods that you can walk to. This is some of the ideas we've been floating out to around the 15-minute city that you can walk to or bike to, anything that you need in our local neighborhoods. And this is just creating this vision citywide.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, and so, yeah, local businesses are struggling, especially coming out of COVID. Like, I mean, I took the first opportunity today to go, support a local business. And the bartender, he said that in the last 15 months, he's only worked 7 months out of the year. And this is someone who has bills to pay. That's his job.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we need to do everything possible. So I think now we're going to just jump into some questions from the group. A few questions have come in, and I think there's some. So I think we did a small poll, and a lot of people did not realize that it's how complicated it is for businesses to obtain permits. Like 75% of people they had no idea that it was so complex, and the people who've unfortunately had to deal with it, like 25%, realize that it's a very complex situation. So how will you a question that's come in from Mark on Instagram is like, how will you connect the energy and tech sectors for maximum benefit to Calgary?
Well, and I think the evolution's already happening because many of these energy companies are very much technology, digital companies now. It's actually how they've been able to retool a lot of their businesses to survive, right? The volatility in commodity prices, oil and gas prices. It's how do we really amplify that and ensure we've got the right talent in the city. And so next week, I'm just as a bit of here's a teaser, is we're going to actually announce a big idea to really help make that robust talent pool in our city that will also revitalize downtown. But it's a question of really sort of understanding that technology is not one industry. This is what I get so excited. And you know this, God, given your background, right, Charles? We see it in every industry now. Every industry is digital because it gives additional capability, additional data, better decisions. And we've got to have the skilled workforce that also attracts more of these businesses, whether it's ag tech, fintech, even energy. And we've even seen with carbon reductions, the 5 oil sands companies this week have made some big announcements, what they're committing to in terms of a zero carbon future and how they're going to work together to do that. There's technology involved in that. So I want to, as mayor, as future mayor of the city, is really amplify and shine a light on these tremendous achievements and moving forward in this way.
Okay, yeah, and I occasionally joke that we're all morphing into technology companies that happen to deliver services and make products, but that's for a different conversation. There's Janelle on Instagram's also asked a question: does Calgary have a chance in competing with other cities when it comes to technology?
I believe we do. And I believe we actually undersell ourselves in terms of the quality of life that we have here, the cost of living relative to a lot of other cities. It's how do we really amplify that and almost believe in ourselves again. And that's why I've thrown my hat in to be mayor, because we need someone who can inspire us, almost remind us, and I'm just that gal. Because I've said many times, Charles, right? You know me, right? You've watched me, right, over the years. Glass half full girl, but I don't need much in that glass. But we've got, think of the assets we have, the attractiveness to the mountains. What is missing right now, and again, in our platform, we're going to be talking a lot more about getting the cool back in Calgary, which also starts to attract tech, starts to attract talent, and we create this really vibrant lifestyle that really brings people together. That's the vision that I'm fighting for. And we have all of the assets, we have all of we need to make that happen.
Wonderful. So yeah, Megan's asked a question. What is your plan for for the climate, or how are you going to deal with climate change or the issues around climate?
This is the reality, and we're looking actually at some innovative ways that also has an economic boost, but getting us and reducing emissions. We have struggled at the City of Calgary to meet our emissions targets. In fact, we woefully failed the target that we had set in 2020, which was actually about 12 megatons, and we're actually, I think, currently sitting about 18 or 19. And so how are we actually going to commit? What is the governance structure to ensure that we will actually commit from a City of Calgary standpoint? So that's the operations to reduce carbon. How do we invest that way? And how do we kickstart some of that? And what are the incentives that we actually give citizens in the city to retrofit, to look at energy efficiency so that we actually come? Because if we actually don't deal with this, we start to look at a liability, Charles. The numbers are staggering citywide of almost $3 billion. If we see taxes on carbon start to increase, which is certainly the plan, even going to $170 a ton, which is nothing because some of that pricing doesn't even actually help you switch out into in some industries in terms of what it means to reduce. But going even to that price point, we actually start to incur a liability, which is on the city alone about a 10% tax increase, property tax increase. So there is an economic imperative to also reduce emissions. But we need to bolster our environment. This is what we talk about, right? Safe and connected and healthy communities. It's about also being stewards of our environment. And I'm so pro that because I also think it makes good sense. And I see tremendous economic opportunity, right? In green energy, in green future. So, and that's also going to attract the young talent that we want to bring to the city.
Spoken like a true economist. I need scotch for the rest of for this kind of conversation. But so, So yes, but it's like we have not, like a lot of people, we haven't really taken a serious economic look at this. It's a lot of it is emotional and around,
Yeah.
but there are significant economic drivers around the climate. So I look forward to hearing more from
Huge
you on
levers.
that subject because nobody else is talking about that. But let me just give other people a chance. Like Jay on Instagram wants to know, do we have a skills pipeline to support technology? I guess a lot of people want to talk about technology. I should
Yeah.
probably be just on the hot seat here, but do we
Well,
have a
you
skills
should, because
pipeline?
what's your view on this, right?
Uh,
Do we have the
no,
skills pipeline?
do we have a skills pipeline? No, we have. Yeah, I've failed in the skills pipeline. Like my daughter's a computer engineer, and she just signed her lease in Toronto.
Ah,
So yeah,
so
that's
don't want that happening, Charles.
I've failed. I have failed. I mean, because we did not have Jan as mayor. So so
You're
are
joking.
our post-secondary institutions ready? You know, what are we doing
Yeah.
to create the skills, the technology talent that we need in this city?
And I think it's all about scaling, right? And this is something you and I talk about in our VMSA work, right? In our coaching, right? The startups. How do we help scale from a human resource perspective, right? It's a leadership piece as well. And so we've got to work in partnership with our post-secondaries. And again, want to kind of see how do we create a magnet for this talent so we can actually scale? Currently, my understanding, there's over 2,000 vacant tech jobs in the city because we don't have the skill base. We're only graduating, right? Three figures, right? 300, 400 a year. We have to really scale that up. And what's the jump start that we can give to people to do that? And have an idea that we want to talk about next week.
Oh, okay. So that would be exciting because we not only do we need to grow them, but we could, we should be attracting them. Like
Yeah.
we need to make this a place where people want to come and have vibrant and
Yeah.
long, exciting tech careers. So
Well, both you and I have children, right, that have left the city, seeing opportunities elsewhere. I mean, this is part of my goal and personal motivation. I want to, and I think it's good to go and, try different environments, be exposed to different places, but want them to come home because they see opportunity, raise their
absolutely.
families here, build their careers here. So, and I believe we can do that together by
Okay.
leveraging all of the systems.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, there are just a couple more questions, and then we could start one. So this question is unrelated to business, but somebody says just your thoughts on secondary suites. Like we have to entertain all questions, but and this one
We'll
this one is
entertain
one
all
that's going to come at
questions.
you.
Yeah. Well, no, and affirmatively for secondary suites, and those were approved. I know it was a painful process, but what we have found since we've actually allowed them, because I am pro affordable housing. That's another key lever for us to attract people, particularly young people, to grow their careers, build their families here. And secondary suites are a way to do that. And they don't change the landscape of a neighborhood. We need to be more inclusive and give people choices in housing. And so, very pro. And that's founded, Charles, as you know, in the work that I did also for many years with YWCA as well as United Way. We've got to really ensure, right, that there is affordable housing in the city.
Right.
And how do
So
we?
yeah,
And the feds are willing to invest a lot of money in this right now. We've got to be in a position as a city to leverage that.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So we now have another tech question from Byron on Instagram. It's is technology all about green tech, or is there room for traditional source of strength, the energy industry, which is what it's what got us here, right? It's what allows
Yeah,
me to be doing what I'm doing now
yeah,
for fun, like my years in the energy sector. So, is it is there what's the plan for traditional
yeah.
energy sources?
Well, and there are some technology angles. Companies, right, in pursuit of profit, they find efficient ways, right, to produce their product, produce their commodity. It's happening already, and many of you know that I grew up in the energy industry. I studied energy economics, right, and then came and worked for the Alberta Department of Energy early on. And then I went to TransCanada, at that time, TransCanada Pipelines, currently TC Energy. And so, and we have large reserves here, and we need to be efficient in how we produce them. So the energy industry is not going anywhere. It's a foundational. I think what we have to come to terms with, it's not the driver of actually new jobs. because there are so many efficiency. It's in a mature state. But how do we actually leverage the skills, the know-how, which is what we're talking about, retooling, and what are we doing in ag? What are we doing in financial tech, fintech, right? All of these other industries, transportation, logistics. So we have an opportunity also just to build off this base. It's not one or the other. This is something that drives me crazy. It's not one or the other. It's and. It is always and. That also creates robustness. And that's what we talk about, a diverse portfolio of the sectors and industries that also gets us out of boom bust. And so we don't always have these fit and starts that we've also really suffered from in this province. And so this is about gainfully employing everybody in our city, in our province. And we do that by creating talent pipelines, as we've talked about today. We do it by creating opportunity and unleashing that entrepreneurial creative spirit. So getting the hoops and the hurdles out of the way of business people to be a creative and actually create business. And it's about very much creating a pathway for newcomers to the city. I have a vision about growing this city. Right? We're 1.4, 1.5 million, right? We need to be 2. We need to be 2.5, 3. People might say, where on earth are we going to put them all? We have so much space. We have such a great quality of life. We can do this smartly. And we do it together, leaving no Calgarian behind.
Awesome. Yeah, that's wonderful. I think we'll just probably close with that. Like, there's nothing like there's so much more we could talk.
Well, you're biased. I know you're in. You know me a long time.
Yeah, no, there's so much more we could talk about, but I would, and I'm guessing there would be another session where you will talk about how we're addressing the energy industry, yes. And it's not it's not an either or, and it's not progressing in other sources of energy does not mean a death. That we're not supportive of what got us here and what's still there.
Honor that.
Yeah, so I think we need to I would strongly suggest that we have a conversation about that, because there are a lot of people who they're looking for answers. They're looking for and those answers are not out there, and they're not it's not a simple situation, but it is something that we definitely can address, and we could show people the path forward. So no, this is great chatting with you. Any last thoughts or?
Well, for you? I want to thank you for coming on tonight with me, Charles. So awesome. I always love the conversations we have. So thanks for facilitating this. It's so much easier talking to you, right? Or, rather than the void, right? The void. So grateful. Thanks for those that joined tonight. Actually, we've held strong, right, with a number of people, which is so fun. Love the questions. Love, too, that they hit us from all angles. But wishing everybody just a great, as we move into second phase of reducing COVID restrictions. Continue to be safe, be vigilant, but also start to enjoy your friends and your family outside. I dream of a bottle of wine at a restaurant with friends. I'm excited about that, Charles. I don't know about you. And I'm signed up to get my second shot as well. I know you are now too. I think you and I were probably doing the same thing when we got in.
I was actually in the bar having a beer and booking my shot. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and it's just for me, it's a verklempt kind of moment, right? It's just amazing that we actually can have this, and that we can actually start to reclaim some of these freedoms. But so long as we're vaccinated. So I'm actually going to encourage everybody to get vaccinated, because this is actually how we get out of this. This is our get out of jail free card. Get vaccinated. Okay. So have a great week, everybody. And thanks again, Charles, for being with me tonight.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. Love you, Dan.
And doesn't it go fast? It's crazy.
Yes, it did. Okay.
Good night, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.